Okay, everybody, hello. Welcome to the introduction and orientation to world religions here at Orange Coast College for fall 2025. This video is just to kind of get you guys acquainted to the course, let you know about the syllabus, the course assignments, textbooks, just kind of to give you some kind of clear parameters and guidance as we start to embark on our 8-week semester course this term. So, anyways, let's start off by just telling you guys a few things about myself. This YouTube live stream format has a live chat replay that you guys can gain access to if you just pull it down on your app or web page view. And then you can go ahead and just see the comments that I'm typing in. So I'm starting off with just some basic facts. My name, for one. So you see it typed out there. It's good to meet you guys. My name is Richard Vulich, Dr. Richard Vulich. So it's not too important to me how people refer to me, Professor Vulich, Dr. Vulich, something else. But yeah, I have my PhD and master's degree, bachelor's degree in philosophy. So that's why the academic prefix is included there in my name. But nice to meet you guys. I'm just going to tell you a few other things. Now, the stuff that I'm typing in and talking to you about right now, it's also included in the syllabus document that I posted on Canvas. And you can go ahead and gain access to that anytime by going to our Canvas page, going into the announcements tab, and you can view, print, or download it there at your leisure. But just to kind of make sure it's all clear and reinforcing that information, I'm putting some of the same things here too. So my email is just my first initial, last name, RVULICH, rvulich, at occ.cccd.edu. And you see it there in the chat as well. Sorry, let me actually make a quick edit to that because I put one too many C's. I'm going to redo it. Thank you guys, not to worry. Okay, now we've got it correct. Email, rvulich at occ.cccd.edu. So I encourage anybody that ever needs me for any reason throughout the semester to reach out, be in good contact with me. I do check my messages every day, so I try to be as reliable and responsive as I can be to any student messages. I kind of have a policy that I try my best to carefully follow, which is that if I receive emails, I'll make sure I reply back no later than 2 days within the time that I got it. So I just like for you guys to kind of have some kind of good confidence and knowledge that the professor for your class is going to be able to reach you, that you can reach them, that your messages won't get ignored or buried or whatever. The only exceptions I can imagine to this 2-day window policy would be maybe certain holidays or certain weekends during the semester. But even having said that, I will try my best to always stick to it because I am checking my messages every day. Usually I'll get back to you even sooner than 2 days, but I just give myself a little margin just in case. So anyway, reach me by email anytime you need me, and that's my email address right there. You can also find me by using the Canvas inbox system, just another way to send messages and deliver messages back and forth. Okay, beyond that, I do have office hours this semester. My office hour time is Tuesdays from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Okay, and so I have those office hours on Zoom each week. Since this is an online class, most probably you guys are going to want to reach me through that system, but I'm also present on campus physically. I don't know, since it is an online class, I assume some of you guys might not be around campus every day or maybe not that regularly, but if you are, and if anyone ever wants to have a more in-person face-to-face office hour meeting, then you can find me at LLSS 384. That's actually where I'm at right now in the faculty office space. It's Literature and Languages and Social and Behavioral Sciences, 3rd floor, 384. So either way, by Zoom on Tuesday or in person if you prefer. The other thing is I'm also flexible for anybody. If that's not a good time for your schedule and you'd still like to have some kind of office hour interaction, then you can send me an email, contact me, and we can make an appointment for an alternative time. Whatever works for you, I'll try and be accommodating. For the regular Tuesday, 2:30 to 3:30, you don't have to make any appointment for that. You could just drop in because I'll just be running my Zoom and I'll be in my office at that time each Tuesday. But again, if there's ever a time or a week where that's not convenient for you and you'd still like to meet, then just let me know and we can arrange a different alternative time by appointment. So you can consider my office hours as like officially Tuesdays 2:30 to 3:30, but also by appointment for anyone that wants to work with a different time slot. Okay, so we've started off with just some basic facts. Obviously my name, my email, where I'm at on campus, how to reach me, when my office hours are, and how to schedule appointments for different times. I'm going to continue with just some other basic background information on me since it is the orientation to the course. I want you guys to be kind of acquainted with me and get to know me a little bit so that we have a good sense of familiarity and comfort as we, embark on the semester. So let me just tell you some stuff about my academic history and background and just some other fun facts overall. But okay, so I'm from the Southern California area. I grew up in Redondo Beach, which is kind of in the South Bay area of Los Angeles, so not too far from OC and from Costa Mesa, but that's where I grew up as a kid. And then I went to high school in Manhattan Beach at Mira Costa High School. After that, I actually went to community college myself for a couple of years. I attended El Camino Community College, so I can relate to your guys' experience, pursuing your higher education, getting started in community college. And I'm, very aware of all the different opportunities and doors that can open. So I'm happy to give back to the system now that I'm a professor here at OCC. But anyway, yeah, I went there for 2 years, and then I transferred to UCLA. So, I'm a Bruin, I guess you could say. I went to UCLA. I was happy to go there because it was kind of always a school I thought I might want to attend growing up in LA. So I had a good experience there. Now, when I started off at community college, my initial intention was to be an English major because I was always really good in my English classes and, writing essays and analyzing literature. I took the AP English classes and all the honors English classes and did pretty well and all that. So I thought maybe I would be an English teacher, English professor, or something around there. Once I got to community college, I started to get interested in a couple of philosophy courses. They really didn't offer much in K through 12 in terms of philosophy studies. So I started to dabble in that at the community college level, and I was interested in it enough that I decided I would try to make that a part of my minor when I got over to UCLA. But then when I transferred to UCLA, so I was an English major, philosophy minor, I really started to get more and more engaged with my philosophy studies. There's just a great department over there, and they have a very rich tradition of teaching philosophy. So I kind of decided in my junior year that I would make a key change and switch my major and minor around. So I then became a philosophy major with an English minor, and that's how I graduated. I had good grades, Latin honors, all that stuff. So I was kind of just not sure. I thought I might apply for higher studies, graduate programs, because I knew I could be competitive, but at first, I just took a gap year after college, kind of traveled a little, worked, and considered my next move. But ultimately, I decided, yes, I'd like to go for another round of higher education. So I applied for PhD programs in philosophy, and I was fortunate to get into UC Irvine, which I'm sure you guys know is the kind of local OC UC campus here. And that's where I got my master's and PhD in philosophy. So I had a really good experience working with my dissertation committee, my faculty advisor, probably one of the best, I think, in the world on the topic that he specializes in. Just so you know, there's a lot of different subject areas within philosophy, just like how in science you have biology, chemistry, physics, and other subdisciplines. In philosophy, there's a lot of specializations that people can focus on as they go further into the field. So some people are looking at more philosophy of religion. Obviously, that's a topic that's related to our course. Sometimes it's metaphysics or ethics or logic. My topic of more special emphasis back then was epistemology, which is a branch of philosophy that focuses on the issue of knowledge, like what is knowledge and how do we know things, and getting really down into the fundamental concepts. What's justification, truth, belief? What's the difference between really knowing something and just having a lucky guess that turned out to be correct? My own dissertation topic within that realm was about disagreement between people. It's kind of interesting developing literature on that. Like, what are the philosophical and social dynamics of disagreement? For example, if you have a peer that you respect as an equal and they don't agree with you on something, what's the rational thing to do? Should you change your mind to their view? Should they change theirs to yours? Should you guys meet in the middle, compromise, or just stick to your guns, go your different ways? So I developed some ideas on that whole topic, and that was kind of the main substance of my dissertation project. When I finished, grad school, I started right away here teaching at Orange Coast. So I've already been here for time really flies, but it's been like 12, 13 years. But it's been a great experience. I really love being here. It's a good campus, very supportive community, and great students. So, I'm happy to still be here and be your guys' professor. I've also had some appointments teaching at some other like local institutions in Orange County, Chapman University over there in Orange, and Cal State Fullerton. So a lot of work keeps me busy teaching, but it's obviously something that I always really loved and wanted to do. So I'm happy with the results. Um, Teaching is one part of the academic life. There's also some research that goes into it. So I have, published some articles, co-edited a book, um, gone to some major conferences in philosophy, and been able to travel here and abroad to attend some of those conferences, giving talks on papers or sometimes commenting on the work of other colleagues. So it's all very intellectually stimulating and fun. But for me, probably the thing that I care the most about is the teaching component of the academic life, being with students like you, helping you guys learn, develop skills, and being a little part of your education. And, so that's something that I like a lot. And that's how I've kind of become a professor, just giving you guys my academic background. Now, there's also some fun facts I can tell you about. So just so that you get a little bit of the lighter side and, balance to your perspective on me, I'll tell you a couple of other random things. So, let's see, I was always really interested in music. Starting as a young child, I started learning how to play kind of formal guitar lessons back when I was like around 11. So I'm talking about, I was reading sheet music and playing Spanish style flamenco guitar pieces, classical guitar. And that gave me a pretty good proficiency in like music theory and guitar. So I became pretty good. In high school, I played in the jazz band for like 3 years, where we would perform at like school events, and we would do all these jazz standards, and there'd be like a big band with all the wood and wind instruments, and then also like a jazz ensemble with guitar, bass, and percussion. So that was cool. Gave me experience, just working musically in collaboration with other people. As an adult, after college, or rather after high school, and after college, but anyway, I had all kinds of musical projects just to have a creative outlet and just for fun. So for a long time, I actually played in like a sort of like over 10 years, I played in a, you could say, metal band. We would go on tour and, release music and had our little following and everything else. And that project's really not active anymore. We kind of went our separate ways, but I have other stuff going on now just for fun to stay active with music. So kind of playing in like a more, I guess you could call it like indie rock, emo style band, like melodic rock, where I'm writing songs and playing guitar and singing and stuff. So that's fun. But I've done all kinds of other music too, just because I have very broad musical interests. So like electronic music, rap music, everything. So that's just something that I have, as a sort of hobby. But it's a creative hobby that I think is important. I think it's good for people to appreciate and engage with the arts if they can. And so, that's something that I enjoy. Other things, let's see. I'm a big runner. I try to stay active and fit with running. So I'm training all the time, running almost every day that I have free time. I'm out at the track. I did some big, races. I did the LA Marathon a couple years ago, and at other distances, half marathon, 10Ks, 5Ks. So that's just a big part of my kind of fitness routine and daily schedule, I guess. Um, let's see. I have some siblings that are triplets. That's kind of different. I mean, I'm not one of the triplets, but I was born, and then a year later they came. So we're all kind of similar age. There's two brothers and a sister in the group of triplets. My brother's one named Danny. He got his kinesiology degree, and he's like a track coach and a PE teacher at a middle school up in the Central California area. He's always really been actually into running and track, so he kind of influenced me to get into it. I'm kind of more of a late bloomer, but he was really heavy into it even growing up. So we'll do events and train together and talk about running sometimes. That's just for fun. And then my other brother David, he got a sociology degree, and he works as like a social worker also up in the Fresno, Central California area. And yeah, we're all kind of close, and we have a great relationship. Let's see, I live in Long Beach now. Got married about 3 years ago. So me and my wife kind of recently married. She's also a philosophy professor, so that's kind of also a fun fact. We have a lot of interesting conversations about the field itself and philosophical topics, but also our students. And we met like in UC Irvine through the studies in philosophy. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, but I said I live in Long Beach. We bought a house there. It's not too far from Orange Coast, so the commute on a good day is not that bad. And let's see, maybe just one more random fun fact. So a lot of you guys probably know that there's a whole world of competitive video gaming, like esports and pro gamers and stuff. Um, There's this one game that I'm sure all of you guys have heard about, or most all of you, which is Tetris. It's like a well-known game, probably one of the sold the most, some of the most units of any game ever released. It's the one where the blocks fall from the top and you got to rotate them and stuff. So, long story short, I was playing Tetris as a kid because I'm old enough to have the Nintendo, and I was just getting good at it for whatever reason. I mean, I didn't even really focus much on it, to be honest, but I just had some savant-like skills with it or whatever. So. Um, we get to the age of like college and stuff, and I've managed to keep a Nintendo system with me the whole time, somehow connecting it to more modern TV setups just so I could play for fun. And so back around it's like the 2010s, late 2000s, early 2010s, I was looking at some of my scores I was getting, and I was noticing that they're like kind of competitive with some of the more elite scores in the world. So I decided I would record a video of one of my best games. I sent it to Twin Galaxies, which is like the record-keeping body for video game world records, and they verified it was number 9 in the world at that time. So I was top 10 in the world in Tetris for a little while, and then I competed in the Tetris World Championships for 2 years. Now I didn't win the championship or anything. There's actually an elite group that's on a slight tier, higher than me, that's even better. But nonetheless, it was fun. And I guess the last thing I'll say on that point is that I had so like through the study of Tetris and whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry for the interruption. I just had a staff member that came into the office, but I'll be wrapping up my comments here soon. So anyway, yeah, about the Tetris thing, my brothers saw me doing it, and they were like, "Wow, how cool is that? We'd really like to get involved as well." But they were never players, and they were just kind of thought it was cool that I was involved in the game and everything. So what ended up having to happen was like they took it as a challenge because I was saying to them, "You'll never get to my level." And then they became these amazing Tetris players in their own right, who actually are better than me now. So if you like kind of go into the name Vulic and Tetris, you'll probably see David and Danny, who both have maximum scores, which I don't quite have. I have 700,000 points, but I'm still getting better. I think I've recorded some of my highest scores ever just in the last year, so I still think that I can probably improve. Now, anyway, that's just some fun facts, letting you guys know about me. The next thing I want to do, of course, since it is our orientation to the class, is just go over our syllabus in clear detail, line by line, and then we'll make sure that you understand everything in there so that we're all on the same page going forward and have a good semester. So, okay, as I'm looking now at the syllabus, I'm just going to go from top to bottom. This is Religious Studies A110. That's the course code and number. The CRN is 20716 here at Orange Coast Fall 2025. There are some textbooks that are required in this class. Now, the first textbook, the primary textbook, is this text. It's called The World Religions by Michael Coogan. Now, this is how the physical book looks, but you don't really need to buy it because I found a free PDF copy of it that I was able to send off to you guys. It's already in the Canvas announcements, posted as the second post. So go there and download the textbook for the class, and you've already got it free of cost. So that's pretty nice. The other book is Houston Smith's The World Religions. This is my copy of it. It's a little tattered, but anyway, that's what it looks like. It's at our school bookstore here at Orange Coast College, so you can find it there. It's also just a best-selling book, so it's easy to find online if you'd rather just order it through Amazon or anything else. The primary text is this one. We do have some supplemental readings, though, in this as well, so best for you to get them both. This has kind of like a little bit more of a literary approach and style, but it still contains a lot of important factual information and commentary on the different world religions. So that's what you want to have for course materials. Go ahead and get this book when you're able to, and you already have this one for free as a PDF that I sent out in Canvas. Okay, now continuing from there, here's the course description. It says, religion and religious practices are a defining feature of human society, culture, and history. Human beings, for as long as they have existed, have contemplated the eternal questions of where we come from, what principles we should live by, and what kind of social systems we should construct. In this class, we will evaluate the major world religions in terms of their history, their doctrines, and the philosophical and cultural contributions they have made to the world. Students will learn about key events, key figures, sacred spaces, ethical doctrines, and sacred times that characterize the major religious traditions of both the West and the East. In doing this, students will gain insight into the historical development and cultural and philosophical significance of diverse traditions, allowing them to deepen their understanding of religion and world history and to see in what ways these various schools of thought can be compared and contrasted. The variety of patterns developed in both the East and West are explored with a special emphasis on the relevance to the contemporary intellectual world. May be taken for grades or on a pass, no pass basis. Okay. The next part of the syllabus just goes over like certain little student learning outcomes, the things that we'd like for you to be able to do on the basis of the knowledge that you gain in this class. Sorry. After that, there's a brief note on learning disabilities. If there is any student in the class that has any kind of verified learning disabilities, we do have disability support services on campus. So please, get those if you're entitled. We want you to get all of the support that you're entitled to so you can get your full academic potential realized. After that, they talk about the course requirements. So that's a key part of the syllabus. And let me just make sure everyone's clear about that. So you have to do a few things in this class. You have to take 2 exams, you have to write 2 essays, and you also have to submit 8 journal entries. So those are the 3 kind of things you have to do: 2 tests, two papers, and some journals. The exams, so there's a midterm and a final. The midterm's worth 25% of your grade, and the final is worth 30%. So those 2 things add to 55% of your course value. You'll be getting a study guide distributed through Canvas at least a week before the tests themselves, and then those will contain the possible test questions. There'll also be a review session posted to our Canvas page in the preparation leading up to the test day. These tests are the only things in the class that are done on a timed format. So you do have to take them on the day listed in the syllabus for the test, and they'll be posted to Canvas, and you'll have a 90-minute window to complete them and send back your responses in an email attachment. Now, if there are students that cannot take the test during the designated 90-minute window, that's the default window, and I would like most all of you to defer to that. But if there are some that can't, then they can simply contact me, no problem, and we'll just arrange an alternative 90-minute window on the same date so that you can take your test at a time that works for you and for your schedule. But it would be on the day that's listed in the calendar that everyone will take it, but there's flexibility with regard to the 90-minute window, and you can simply reach me on a case-by-case basis if you need any alteration to the time frame. Now, there's also 2 essays in the class. There are 3 to 4 page essays on prompts that I will distribute about a week or so before they're listed due in the calendar. The first one's worth 15% of your grade, the second's worth 20. So 15 and 20 add up to 35%. Add that to the 55% of the exam basis, and now we're at 90% of your course value. And of course, these essays will have to do with topics related to the world religions that we're studying, and you'll be given clear guidance and prompts when those dates approach. You'll send me your essays before the due dates or deadlines at my email address or through Canvas inbox as an attached file. There's also 8 journal entries that you'll have to submit throughout the course. So these are just like a page or less, and there's 2 elements of it. One thing is that you have to say something interesting that you learned in the lectures or readings, some fact, concept, or idea that you encountered that you found of interest. So you have to say what this interesting fact was, but then you also have to say why you personally found it interesting. So there's a subjective and an objective component. The objective component is just a description of what this interesting fact is, and the subjective component is why you personally found it to be interesting. Now, about the due dates for the journals, there are 8 of them over the course of the semester that are due. The first one, though, is due on or before 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, October 28th. The reason that one has a specific due date is because we have a census deadline in our college, and if I don't receive any kind of work from a student prior to that census, then it's hard for me to determine if they've been paying attention or attending. And so sometimes a student can get dropped if they don't have any activity in the course prior to the census date. So I need to collect something from you to establish your participation in the class before the census happens. That's why the first one's due by the end of the day on October 28th. The other 7, I allow you to turn in on your own schedule, so you can determine the timing and number of when you submit them, even though the other 7 are due by the end of the term. I would encourage you, though, even though I'm giving you the flexibility to determine when you submit them, not to let them pile up too much so that you have to do them all at the end. It would be good for you to sort of spread them out. Ideally, you might do 1 a week, but it is up to you. It's an asynchronous course, and I want you to have a little bit of flexibility on the timing of your journal submissions. But anyway, there's 8 of them due through the semester. Do pay attention to the deadline of the first one. Other than that, the rest can be submitted on your own schedule. Now, meetings in the class. This is obviously an online class, and therefore we're going to be posting online lectures to Canvas that you'll have to watch, where I will talk about the readings and the topics that were included in the syllabus for that date. Now, since it's an 8-week course, it's a condensed course, which means that it's supposed to take up the same amount of material and time as a 16-week class, but just compressed into 8 weeks time frame. So if you had done this in person, you'd be, attending 2 3-hour meetings a week, and so we have to hold the equivalent amount of meetings for us. Therefore, I'm going to be posting 2 lectures for each Tuesday and Thursday. that will be about 3 hours in length for the 2 days, so a total of 6 hours of lecture content to view each week. I'll post the material for the Tuesday meetings the weekend prior to that Tuesday, so usually each Saturday or so, you'll get the drop of those 2 lectures for your Tuesday date, and then there will be another 2 lectures dropped on about Monday for the Thursday of that same week. So I'm roughly holding the class on a Tuesday, Thursday meeting schedule, even though they're not quite meetings, but they're just the dates on which the lecture should be viewed. Since it's an asynchronous class, you can watch these lectures obviously whenever you have the time, whenever it's convenient for you. They'll be archived and posted permanently to our Canvas page, so they'll remain there for your later viewing. But I would again say, like with the journals, not to let them pile up too much so that you don't have to watch all of them in like a binge setting later on in time. Allow yourself to digest the material over a nice spread out portion of time. So you'll be getting the first couple of lectures this weekend on Saturday. This is part of it, the intro orientation, and then there will be a second lecture which starts our first topic after that. And then following from there, you'll be receiving twice each week 2 lectures, 2 each for the Tuesday meeting and 2 each for the Thursday meeting. Office hours, we already talked a little bit about that, but again, they're Tuesdays from 2:30 to 3:30, either by Zoom or at physical location of LLSS 384. We have regular and substantive interaction in this class, so I'll be working closely with you and giving you direct, personalized feedback that's written on all of your assignments, your journal entries, and I'll be able to be reached through the office hours as well. So we'll have a lot of close personal interactions, each student with me throughout the semester. With missed tests and late assignments, if you ever feel that there's a date that you can't be able to submit something during its designated due date, we have to follow these deadlines. They're reasonable. But if there is a student that had a personal emergency or something that interfered with their ability to submit it timely, then they should talk to me before that date so that maybe we could work out an accommodation. Because if you come to me afterwards, then it's too late to work out an accommodation. It's not really fair to the other students that work hard to submit things on time and don't assume that there could be any extension of their deadlines. Academic integrity is very important. Academic dishonesty is not tolerated at all. You can't submit any work that you didn't honestly complete on your own by yourself. So no, you can't turn in things that other people wrote or that were generated through AI. No form of academic dishonesty is permitted, and that's a serious requirement. I think you know that because the whole point of school is for you to learn and develop your knowledge and writing and reading skills. But that, of course, is completely eliminated if some other source is responsible for creating your submissions and your assignments. So let's be honest, let's do our own work. But even if you didn't, normally it's easy to tell when it's not written by a human being. And it's also not usually the best material, to be honest with you. So it's not going to receive a very good score, even if it was passed into me. Now, here's the course calendar that we're just going to look at quickly. What you'll see here is that we have a series of dates listed. And for each world religion that we're going to study, there are 3 different lectures pertaining to it. So the first date is Tuesday the 21st. There's this introductory lecture that you're seeing now. That's half of the meeting on that day. And then the other one is lecture number 1 for Judaism. We start off with Judaism, the Jewish faith. When you see pages listed in the syllabus, like, for example, it says Reed Coogan, page 6 to 25, you try to read those pages prior to the viewing of the lecture that corresponds to that lecture topic and date. And so lectures 2 and 3 on Judaism are for Thursday the 23rd. Again, you should try to watch these videos at around or approximately around the date listed in the calendar for them. But do read the pages assigned prior to the viewing. In week 2, we transition to the religion of Christianity. So the Christian faith is our second world religion that we're going to study and learn about. Notice that, again, the first journal due date is listed in week 2 as Tuesday the 28th before 11:59 p.m. or anytime on or before 11:59 p.m. on that date. So lecture 3 on Christianity is Thursday the 30th of October, and then the second lecture for that date is lecture 1 on Islam. So we start moving on to Islam, the Muslim faith, and then we'll have 3 lectures on that. So the next 2, part 2 and 3 of Islam, the 2 recorded segments for that are on Tuesday the 4th of November. Then we move on to Hinduism, Thursday the 6th of November. And notice the essay 1 due date is listed there as Thursday of week 3, and you'll be given your prompts for that at least a week prior. We have the third and last lecture on Hinduism, Tuesday the 11th. I'll post a video review session on that day, And then circle your calendar for an important date, Thursday the 13th. That's the day of our midterm exam. After that, we're on to the second half of the course. The next thing we look at is Buddhism um, and Buddhist religious traditions. That's two of part 1 and 2 on Tuesday the 18th, part 3 on Thursday the 20th. And then the second installment on Thursday the 20th is when we transition into the Chinese religious traditions. So that's part 1 on Thursday. The recordings for part 2 and 3 are Tuesday the 25th. We have a Thanksgiving holiday, of course, on the 27th, so we won't be posting any recorded lectures or materials that day, and you'll enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family, I guess. After that, week 7, we move on to the Japanese religious traditions, and we'll have part 1 and 2 on that Tuesday, the 2nd of December. Notice that the second essay will be due on that date as well, and you'd be given your prompts well before that is in addition. Lecture 3 on Japanese traditions is Thursday, the 4th of December. And then as the last section of our class, we're going to have a couple of lectures derived from arguments that try to prove the existence of God. So there are some interesting philosophical arguments written in the history of the West that try to make a case that God exists. And we'd like to know what that literature and what those arguments are. So then we're going to study the ontological argument as one of the recordings on Thursday, the 4th of December. Then on Tuesday, the 9th, you'll see a couple of lectures on the cosmological argument and the teleological argument. I'll also post a final exam review session on the Tuesday of the 9th. And then the final exam date is the last day of class, Thursday, December the 11th. And again, as before, you'll be given a study guide to prepare and also use that to follow the review session. So those are all the dates and important facts. I let you guys know a little bit about myself, obviously, earlier in this recording. And I'd love to know about some of you guys too. If any of you would like, you can include a little brief blurb about yourself, giving me some information or background, fun facts, if you want. You don't have to, but in the first journal submission that you give, if you'd like, then that could help build a sense of community and familiarity with you, so that I know a little bit about you guys too. So I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to talk about with you today. Just again, enjoy the course, do the readings, follow the viewing schedule for the recorded lectures, and be in touch with me throughout the semester if there's anything that you need in any way I can help you. I want to be helpful, and we'll just kind of take this journey together into World Religions Fall 2025 here at Orange Coast College. So I guess then for now, I'm going to end this stream and continue on and follow closely through the course, and we're going to have a good semester, I believe, okay? So take care. Best of luck to you in everything you're doing this semester, and I'm happy to be your professor, and best wishes as we continue. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and I'll be talking to you soon.